we go. There's Stacy. Hey, Stacy. She's in Alabama. There's me, Chloe.
Hello.
Oh, she can't hear yet. She doesn't have her headphones on. Okay. All right. Stacy, can you hear us or no? Oh,
I can hear y'all. I had myself on mute.
Okay.
Hey, I was trying to find headphones. I got a pair.
All right. I'm starting the recording now, and I'm so happy to have Chloe Cox with us tonight as our guest speaker. We met a few years ago in Greece on an incentive trip. It was a top 100 trip for earners, and she's been on multiple top 100 earner trip. Africa, I don't even know what all. Several top 100 trips she has been on. She's quit her full-time nursing job to go full-time with Scentsy, making 4 times the amount you were making as a nurse. Am I right there?
Yeah, it's probably honestly more than that, but I don't want to, I'm going to be realistic with you guys about everything tonight. But yeah, it was, at the time, it was about 4 times more. It's probably about 8 to 10 times more now. But that, it's a lot of hustle, a lot of work. All the things that you guys can do. I'm like no different from y'all at all.
She has over 20 frontline directors.
No, girl, we have frontline. Yeah. Frontline, I have 25. And then we have 60 directors.
And she has a couple superstar directors as of last month.
Finally.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Chloe. We are so honored to have you with us tonight. Such a privilege, such an honor, and thank you for taking time to chat with us tonight. So I'm going to mute everyone, and I am going to let Chloe get started.
All right. That was like a really serious intro, guys. I am nobody special. I just want to open this up so y'all can know. I'll tell y'all a little bit about my background story. So I'm 28 years old. I started Scentsy whenever I was 22. I had just gotten married.
Oh wait, I muted you, Chloe. Hold on.
There we go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm literally the same way with Zoom.
Can everyone mute themselves so we don't have any background noise? Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. So I went to school to be a nurse. I was a nurse up until this October. It'll be 2 years that I tell people I retired, which, people are like, what? Like, that doesn't make sense. But to me, it's like, no, I didn't. It's not like I just quit because I plan on going back. I retired. I'm done with that part of my life. And so I didn't buy my kit when I joined. I joined November 2012. My husband bought my kit because I was like, I'm a natural introvert. So Scentsy has really grown me to step out of my comfort zone. I don't know if any of y'all are introverts, but it was really, Stacy's like, yeah, the girl who already had herself muted. And I know you are, Martha. Yeah. So, for me, it was like, oh my gosh, I have to talk to people. Like, I have to do all these things. But then I just fell in love with not only the product, but the opportunity. I fell in love with that initially. And so anyways, I, started sponsoring just like you guys are probably doing pretty heavily right now. It's probably a big focus for y'all, especially trying to grow to not just director, but to reach your dreams. You have to sponsor consistently every month, all those things. And so I really just, for probably the first 4 years, y'all, of my business, it will be 7 years this November, which is crazy. The longest job I've ever had. My dad is so shocked that I still am doing this because I've always just been kind of like a job hopper. It's just my generation. I can't help it. But whenever I got to year probably 4, I realized I had built my business so quickly without any systems, and that was a big problem because what happened was I hit Superstar Director in 3 years, And so when that happened, and that was with me working full time. So do any of y'all work full time? Like y'all can just raise your hand. Do you have another job, or y'all just do Scentsy? Just Scentsy? No, another job, Meredith? Okay. So it was really difficult to even have a system or to even think about doing a system when I had another job, because I was just like, go, 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 PRV, let me get this person to join, whatever. And get all these customers, but no follow-up system. So what I did was I was just working so hard and kind of triple working because I wasn't keeping up with anything. So when I hit Superstar Director, I did not get paid a title for a full year. And so when that happened, I was like, dude, I need to do something. And I know, like Martha said, y'all have been looking over like AIM and like looking into coaching calls and looking into like systems for your business, which I have so many things that I can, share with you guys. But, the biggest thing was with me not getting paid at title that I realized was that I was focused too much on the dead weight. And I say that because a lot of you guys are going to have people come through that maybe they were on fire the first year of their business. You guys may have some star consultants under you or leads or whatever, and they just ended up not working, and you're probably still pouring a little bit too much time into them. If not, that will happen. And that's what's happening with me with my frontline directors, with my 4. So after that year, I was like, I got to focus on finding new people. I've got to figure out a way to dig into my downline, which you guys have probably heard that before, right? Like, you don't need to just work with your frontline, but you need to see who in your entire downline, who's rocking it out. So like identifying leaders and all this like new stuff started coming into my head. And this was like 3-4 years later. So just so you guys know, it's never too late, no matter if you've been, I don't know how long some of y'all have been consultants. And I know, Martha, like when we went on our first trip, that was in 2014. I mean, we've been doing this for a hot minute. So it's like we're always trying to learn and evolve and do better. And that's the biggest thing that I want y'all to do tonight when y'all hear the systems that I do and like what I have in place. Like, you have to know that if you're not, number one, if what you're doing in your business doesn't bring you joy, like if you're doing a scalable system or some other kind of thing like somebody else and it doesn't bring you joy, stop doing it. Like, don't do it. You need to do things in your business that are going to work for you. But at the end of the day, you have to do things and you have to keep track of it. And so I probably about like 2 years ago, I started getting coaching calls in place. So I created AIM forms, which are, and Martha, y'all like talked about those, right? Kind of the AIM forms. So, and this is the deal too. I know that they can seem scary. I know that y'all probably are reaching out to people who are not contacting you back, or they're flaking on you because they don't want to do a call. And this happens with my team frequently. But the biggest thing I want you to know is it starts with one. And so I want you guys to know that when you commit to doing these coaching calls, it starts with one. When you have that one person that does that coaching call with you, recognize that behavior. Anytime I do a coaching call with a team member, I put it on my director page if it's a director, and then on my leadership and team page. Like, I put it on all my pages, and I just say, I had a rocking call with Jessica. These are her goals. I cannot wait to do our next one, because then they see it. And they start to see that they're missing out. And so, and to be persistent too with coaching calls. If you don't like the term coaching calls, like some of my directors are like, that freaks me out. Like, don't call it that then. Call it a chat, call it a huddle, call it a whatever you want. But this is the thing, and this is something I realized and why I started doing coaching calls. Number one, and I tell my team this, and I don't know if Martha warned you guys, but I'm very direct. I don't sugarcoat anything, and I'm not here to like tell you guys the easy stuff, because if I told myself that, I would still be working 13-hour shifts and like wiping butts. And that's just not what I'm going to tell you guys. I'm going to tell y'all how to live your best life. But what I was doing 2 years ago before I created the AIM forms is I would get on the phone with people, but I literally would it would turn into this huge conversation about their life. And then they would start, and then I would become a counselor, and then they would be complaining. And we literally had zero focus. We would get off the phone after 55 minutes and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what we talked about. Like, I literally have no idea. So my husband, who I wish he could do this call with me, he's putting our son to bed, but he was like, Chloe, he's like the business guy. And he was like, you got to like start, getting some topics down for what you're going to talk about with these people. They need to call you, and they need to be like 15-minute calls, because we're not going to be doing hour calls, like, you know, and it was crazy. I'm sure y'all have done calls with people, and it's just at really inappropriate times at night. And so I really set my business schedule too of when I was going to work, when I was going to do coaching calls. And we sat down and we literally made up these forms. We made up those AIM forms, which we're always updating them. So anytime we do, Martha, I'll make sure that you know. That way you can share it with them. But we're always like adding to them and changing them. But also with the forms, you can see that number one, they're very direct. So they're based off every title, which y'all have seen. We just created a new one probably like a month and a half ago, and it's for any consultant that wants to sponsor. Because something I realized too is, and I'm sure y'all can agree, especially with this incentive. So like Martha said, I have like earned every incentive. I do not play. I make a plan. It happens. But what I realized with this past incentive, and why I didn't earn it as quick as I normally earn the other ones, which was very strange for me. So I had to sit down and think, hang on, like it's because Chloe's not onboarding these consultants the right way. So I want you guys to think too, you know, your leaders aren't just your people that are already your lead consultants and your stars. Your leaders can be your brand new essential consultants. It's all about how we onboard them. And so I don't know if any of y'all are going to be at Reunion, but I am doing a topic called Focus on the 5, and I'm going to have my husband record it, so I'll put that on my channel. But I'm literally talking about 5 elements like of a leader, and one of them is onboarding new consultants. And I'm saying this because anytime there's a Scentsy incentive, you guys, you got to look at like where your weak spot is. And I can recruit my butt off, just like maybe some of y'all, but my problem is getting them certified. And so I kind of changed the entire way. And I've been, you know, it can get kind of like boring, to be honest, when you're sponsoring people. And it's been, you know, for me and Martha, a long time, you know, it's just kind of like finding that fun and that energy. And so now I want you guys to really think, you know, like I said, your future leaders are right there in your new consultants. So how are you getting them fired up? How are you starting them off on their business? It's not about, I think some consultants are too afraid because they don't want to tell them too much. But at the end of the day, you want to get them really pumped and excited. You want them excited about Shooting Star. You want them trying to earn that. You want them to have a bag party in their hand so they can do their earn a kit. And when you do the earn a kit, it's like, boom, they've already put in their 500. We want to be like really onboarding consultants because, I mean, just what I've found in my past couple months with this current incentive is that I have about 4 girls that are already sponsoring. They joined 2 months ago. They've already hit Sensational Start Level 2. A lot of them are going to promote to lead this month. Like they're really, really, really on fire for their business. And it's all about how you guys as the leaders onboard them. So I want y'all to really focus on the people that want it, that you're going to be thinking about coaching. Don't just coach people that you know are going to be honestly leeches and that are going to suck the life out of you. You are allowed to be picky in who you coach. And that's something I teach my team as well. You know, you need to start with obviously your top producers, and then you need to honestly go to your people that are hungry. You know, when I'm identifying somebody I want to work with, number one, they're not going to want to coach with you if they don't trust you. They're not going to want to listen to what you guys say if you have no relationship with them. So that's something too I really try and do with my team. If I notice, y'all, that they're really engaging on the team page and they're, you know, putting in 500 by the 15th, like all these little triggers in my head to be like, dang, they could really be a leader. I immediately start texting them and building a relationship with them. If I know the person that sponsored them doesn't do a dang thing and I've tried to work with them or I've tried to do stuff with them, I move past that. I'm going to work with the rock star underneath them, because at the end of the day, when you guys promote to director, star director, superstar director, like why else would you be on this call? Like you obviously want to get to the top. You want to be able to consistently identify and find directors. And directors in your downline are anybody in your downline as long as you're their director and there's no director in between. And that's something too I try and tell my leaders that they need to understand. Like your future directors may not be your front line. They may be your second, third, or fourth. And so with like my business, so 2 years ago, I really started coaching. I wish I started doing that sooner. Like I can't stress it enough. my 2 newest superstar directors and only superstar directors that just promoted, they've been using the coaching forms for 4 months. And I don't know why they didn't use them before, because they were on my team, but you know how it is. Sometimes y'all don't want to listen, but y'all hear it from somebody else, and then y'all start doing it. So they decided to start doing the forms, even though they had access to them for 2 years, and boom, they started identifying leaders, having intentional conversations, guys. When they fill out those forms too, this is the thing. When your people fill out those forms, they're going to answer their own questions. They're going to realize why their business isn't going good. When they answer that they have sponsored one person in the past 90 days, they're going to feel pretty crappy about that if they're a leader star consultant, like you guys would, I would. So that's like just one of the questions on those forms. You know, it asks them how they work their business in a 7-day period. It asks them, like, they're all specific on their titles, which you guys have probably seen. And so that's the first thing I want to tell you guys. Coach your people. Start doing it now. Quit thinking they don't want to do it. You guys are in control of the culture you want, right? So, like, if you want to build a culture of this is what we do, like, this is what we do. Like, we build leaders, and also business owners. You can do coaching calls with people if they don't want to build a team, if they just want heavy PRV and to do whatever, like, you can coach them too. It doesn't have to just be coaching for leaders. I coached a brand new consultant today because we needed to coach about fundraisers. You know what I mean? Like, it really just depends on like what they want. But the main point of a coaching form, honestly, is for your leaders. So you guys, and this is something I realized too that my downline didn't know how to do, and y'all probably may not know either. Y'all don't know the questions to ask. I do, because I've been doing this so long, and I've been coaching and doing this and doing that. I know what at each level, what they need to answer and what they need to be doing. Like, when they're a star consultant, they need to have some way they're engaging with their team. I always recommend a team page. So, like, that's something I talk about when somebody's a star consultant. Like, do you have a team page? What does your culture look like? What kind of culture are you building? You don't want to be building a culture and starting a team page when you're a director. Like, that's my personal opinion, because that was me, because I was never told to create a culture and to do all these things. So I became a director, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I have my team page on this woman's page, and she is not my culture at all. And that's the thing. Y'all are going to have different ways that you work your business, and y'all need to know that's freaking awesome too. Don't think you need, like, Stacy, Meredith, Haley, whoever else is on this call. You do not have to work your business like anybody else. And that is the beauty of it. Like, and that's the thing, like, me and Martha don't want you to work your business like us. We want you to work your business in the way that it's going to work for you. So the comparison game too, we've all been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. Like, just look away. You don't have to make pretty samples, just make samples. Like, you don't have to, like, I was talking to Meredith before this, and she has like a zillion parties booked for next month. And so I was like, naturally, like, oh my gosh, basket parties, home parties. She's like, no, online parties. And that's awesome. Everybody's going to work in their own way. And that's the cool thing about starting to coach your team and starting to, you need to learn in your brain how to identify leaders, like what that looks like, all the avenues of that. So you're always thinking, okay, who is this girl that's already put in 500 or that's 1,000 PRV? I know she's 3 down for me, but let me connect with her and let me see what's going on, and like, let me mentor her, because your frontline too, your frontline may not be ready to coach. Like, just because you're coaching your frontline, they may not be ready to coach their downline too. So keep that in mind. The second thing that I really started doing, you guys, and this started this year, so like, I'm guilty of it, like, you know, whatever, but I did not have systems in place. They freaked me out. I would see like the scalable systems from, I think Christina Stainbrook did that, and I loved it, but it freaked me out because they were all these binders. I didn't want a bunch of binders. That freaked me out. And so I literally just had no system, meaning I had no systems for keeping track of my coaching calls, which was ridiculous. I had no systems for my parties every month, meaning keeping track of those. I didn't have a system for like my dream team list. I didn't know how I was working my business every month. Like, I wasn't keeping track of what I was doing, right? Like, there were all annual mentor, annual sales. Like, I really wasn't keeping track of them. I would see like the little pretty colorful sheets consultants would make that you can like fill in, and I'd print them out, and they would just end up on my desk and thrown away. So in February, I started doing systems. So one of my downline She's now a Superstar Director. Her name is Chastity Robinson. If y'all do not follow her YouTube channel, you need to do it. Her content is excellent. She's always uploading stuff, and she does really short videos. It's the best part. She's a teacher. And so this is the thing, too. Y'all want to find different SSDs, Star Directors, Directors that share and teach in different ways. That way your consultants can learn in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But Chastity is a teacher, and she was out of school this summer. And in February, she was like, Chloe, I have got to get it together. She was a Star Director for 2 years. She was like, I've got to move. I got to make changes. She was like, I don't like any of these systems that I see from everybody else in Scentsy. She was like, so I'm going to come up with my own. So it's literally what she did. And Martha, do they have access to the Google Drive with all the different files? Okay, cool. So the one that Chastity uses when y'all click into the Google Drive, and I use a lot of these ones that's in this file, is in my personal planner, okay? But there's a bunch of other little systems that you can look at too. But I started using like the monthly task tracker, which literally is like, I use a happy planner, and I want y'all to know, you don't got to do this. I have actually a really cool idea from a director in my downline. She does her stuff on a whiteboard. Oh yes. See, like all the different ways that you can keep up with it. The biggest thing is you got to start something you're going to freaking do. It doesn't.
They all should have binders. Everybody
I love it. So, and it means nothing if your binder's going to sit there because you don't want to deal with it. Like, don't be that person either. Like, you've got to figure out something that's going to work for you. But like I said, I have 90% of my leaders use a planner, paper type system. I have other leaders that use like whiteboards, big ones in their office, and they have like magnets that they move. I actually have one of my directors, Martha, that I'm trying to get to upload a video of her like magnet system onto YouTube. So if I do, I'll let you know so y'all can see that. But it's more, she wanted everything flexible just because like she didn't want it like on paper. It freaked her out. So that works for her. And she can see it every day in her office, and it's on a whiteboard, and it has like her goals, her parties, annual mentor, like things like that right there on a big whiteboard. But I use this big happy planner, and this has like saved my life, you guys, since February.
Did you know, I just seen Walmart has happy planners now in the school section.
Yes. And guys, you can even find like knockoffs on Amazon. They also have them at Hobby Lobby, but it's not called a happy planner. It's called something else. But I love the happy planner because you can like rip the stuff out of them. Like you can like rip it out and put it back in. But I break it up like in the very front of my planner. I'm just going to let you guys kind of hear my brain. The very first sheet I actually have is my monthly task tracker. And so this is something I recommend y'all at least looking into. If you haven't, it's in Chastity's system, in the systems in the Google Drive. It's called Monthly Task Tracker. And what it is, it has a bunch of tasks, which you're going to change because your tasks aren't going to be the same as my tasks, but they're tasks that you need to do in your business at a month. And what I realize is like, I have like 8 parties. Every month I want to have 8 parties. I don't care what kind they are, I want 8 parties. Clean up my team page, team and group mail outs, schedule a director Zoom, everything that's a priority to me in that month. So for you, it may be, I think I have 2, like I have bulk sampling, pull reports for my team in the middle of the month, update my cover photo for my team page. Like, and as you build your business more and you realize that you need to do heavier leadership content, you're going to add more leadership stuff to your monthly task tracker. But that has been awesome for me. Like I can even look now, there's only 2 more things I need to do for July left. Like, thank God, because it's almost August. Before, I wasn't keeping track of any of that. So I really had no way of knowing, am I being productive in my business this month? I even have business supplies on here. Like I said, bulk sampling, restock my back parties, update annual sales and annual mentor tracker. Every leader, in my opinion, needs to have both of those things printed out, and you need to be earning them. Don't be that leader that says, oh, well, I'm not really good at sales, so I'm just going to go for annual mentor. You need to go for both because your team is looking at you. Everything that you do your team is going to reflect down on that. And that doesn't mean you have to be the best at sales, but dang it, that means you can try and earn annual sales. It's an incredible award to earn. And I mean, we need PRV. Like, you need PRV to build a customer base and to make sure you're relevant and to make sure that you're doing follow-ups and that you're working your business. So the monthly task tracker, I absolutely love that. The next thing I have after that is my dream team list. So, and this is in the front of my planner. So you can see it's all about me. I don't have my team stuff in the front of my planner yet. I don't have my coaching calls up here yet. It's all about me. And so for me, and this is a mindset I've always had, recruiting is always the first on my mind. All the time. Like, when I'm looking at a customer, and this is for y'all too, like, y'all need to be heavily recruiting right now. That needs to be, up until I was a Superstar Director, even after that, even now, I'm always trying to sponsor and bring new people onto my team, because you have no idea who's going to be a minimalist or who's going to be that diamond that's going to change your business. You're literally one person away from a totally different life. And that's 100% a fact. Like, my sponsor had no idea that I was going to have a group of 4,000 people, but she made sure she got my information at that event. She made sure that I signed up. She was persistent with it. So when there's one thing I do think about with my sponsor that I really do try and replicate, it's, if you don't ask someone to join or share the blessing, someone else is going to ask. So my dream team list is always changing. Like, I'm really big on social media. So on Instagram, y'all are more than welcome to follow me on Instagram. I have a really funny Instagram. I'm always doing my story. But I always tell people that way you can kind of learn how to market your life through Scentsy. And I really honestly get a lot of feedback through my Instagram. I build a lot of relationships, but anytime I see, like, if I do a Instagram post about whatever in my story and get feedback from somebody and I'm like, oh, who is she? Like, let me start building a relationship with her. If I think she'd be awesome at Scentsy, she goes on my dream team. So that's why that's here. And you need to be keeping track of who you're having conversations with about the joint opportunity. Guys, like, let's be serious. Half y'all are probably moms. If you're not moms, you're, doing all kinds of things. You cannot remember. This is something I always tell my team too, like my leaders. Why are you saying you can remember all this stuff? There's no physical way as you build a business that you can remember all these things. So I have my dream team list. And then after that, I have annual mentor and annual sales. Okay, that's really, really important. Because I update it every month. I want to know, like, how far away I am. I want to keep track of that. And if we don't, like, we're already, a couple months into the new annual mentor, annual sales year, So, and then pretty much for my team, I do use the new consultant checklist. So this is right in this, all these things are in those systems. So y'all can really look, but new consultants, y'all need to understand, like, how are you training them? How are you onboarding their business? Like, it's not just about them doing a checklist and you figuring out their launch party. It's you, like, getting them on the phone. I sponsor a lot of non-local people, and it's all about me figuring out, like, how is Scentsy going to work for them? How can I help you make money? Like, how can I help you reach your goals? Like, how can I help you get really fired up to want to go to reunion next year? Like, what do I need to do to help you? And I've had some duds in here. Like, I have a couple people, even from this year, I literally wrote MIA. Like, if they don't contact me back, bye. Like, I'm not gonna chase these people. Y'all are grown adults. Like, literally, y'all. Like, y'all all understand. You have those people that join and literally do nothing, and you're like, just let it go. Just keep moving. If they want to come back and work, they can work their business, but it is not our job. And then behind my new consultant checklist, I have a file that's called How to Train Your Teamies. So, and Martha, you're on my pages. So all these are in the files tab. So you can pull any of these and share them. But I always look at that because that's something that I created a couple years ago. And it's just top tips for my team members. Like, you're just not going to remember everything when you're training them. Quit trying to. It's fine. You don't need to. And then this is my favorite. And this is actually something I send them in the mail when they join. So this is called Top 10 Tips for New Consultants. This is in the Files tab too, Martha. And Chastity created this, and she collaborated with our directors, our leaders, like, to create this top 10 list. And it's, like, in depth about all the things. It's so freaking good. And so they actually get this in the mail right when they join from me. And they also just get like a little welcome to the team thing. I made this on Canva. I love Canva. It's my favorite. You can download it for free. I just made like all these little gifts, like team gift certificate, or not gift certificates, but certificates for reunion for free from my house. So, but they get this, they get a sample of like what my mail outs look like as far as like what I sample out. They get a wax sample. They just get a bunch of different stuff, and they get glitter in it, and they get that right when they join. So when I get them on the phone and we're talking about, you know, their business and workstation, it's not just about that. It's like, you can see what my labels look like because I sent you a label. So like, let's talk about how you're going to label your business. Let's talk about like, you know, let's go over these tips because it's right in front of you. Because I mean, I'm visual. And so, you know, I want to give all the avenues to people when I'm training them. So I have all of these right behind that new consultant checklist. So for y'all, it's all about efficiency too. You want to work smarter, not harder. So you want to make sure when you're coaching your people, you know, that's a top priority. Y'all have to, like I said, you have to be sponsoring. Like that's a no-brainer for you guys. And if y'all are not sponsoring, or if you haven't been sponsoring as a star consultant, superstar consultant, you've got to figure out how are you going to sponsor in a way that's going to work for you? Because if you do not sponsor, your team will die. Your team will literally die. And you need to be teaching your team how to sponsor. And that's where coaching calls are freaking awesome, because you can figure out who has the potential to dream and sponsor and who can I hold accountable. And that's why at the end of every coaching call, I set 3 goals with them. So the next page I have after this is my coaching call checklist, which me and Chastity came up with, and it's just simple. It's their name. If they turn their form in, like what time the coaching call is, and you write the focuses. And when you keep track of this stuff, you guys, it makes you feel like you're doing something. You need to be able to see, you know, is it beneficial for, like, are you working with these people? So that's one thing I honestly love about the coaching calls. And then honestly, I have printed out in my planner too, like the slingshot incentive. I have the Scentsy calendar from the workstation. I tell my team about that all the time. It's right in the freaking workstation. It tells you when all the things are happening. And then obviously I have my customer section. So, you know, that was one thing that kind of died for me too. When you start doing intense leadership calls and coaching calls, you're going to feel like you don't have time to work your business. And that is so far from the truth. Y'all have to keep your business first, like all day, every day. Like my recruiting conversations, my mail outs, all those things happen before I do coaching calls. And actually starting next month, I'm not doing coaching calls except this second and third and fourth week of the month. So the first week of the month, I'm not doing any coaching calls anymore, because Chloe realized that she was not doing what she needed to do in her business in the first week of the month, which we need to be closing parties, right? Meredith needs to close her 13 Facebook parties. We need to be bulk sampling. We need to be following up with our customers. We need to be making sure we have business supplies. We need, y'all know the list of things y'all need to do. And so when you're doing your coaching calls, I really highly recommend do not do them the first week of the month. Like, take care of your business, because you really want to have, it would even be glorious for you guys to have your 500 PRV, your leadership PRV by the first week, because, and that 100% will happen, like when you're focusing on your business. As the second thing that I'm starting in August, so as you can see, been doing this 7 years, I'm always trying to evolve and learn. Is I'm going to be only doing coaching calls on Wednesdays and Thursdays now, like the second, third, and fourth week, because even though Chloe worked her business the whole first week of the month, I still need to work my business throughout the month. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, that's going to be time for me, to work my business some more. And y'all, there's so many different ways too that y'all can keep track of your business. If y'all are struggling in what to do every day, there's label systems that you can do. Like one of my SSDs does weekly labels. Martha, I can email those to you actually, because I have her newest one, so y'all can get an idea of that. So she just does different stuff on different days, but they're all income producing. So they're not like fluff. So if you need something to tell you what to do, I recommend something like that. Or if you're like me and you know what you need to do, but you just need to put it in a planner and you need to have a monthly task tracker with the tasks that work for you, then do it that way. But on Mondays and Tuesdays, like I'm just going to be working my business. That means recruits, follow-ups, parties. Like that's it, front loading. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays is when I'm going to do my coaching calls. I don't do more than 6 a week. When I do something like this, what I'm doing tonight, that counts as a coaching call for me. So I want y'all to go ahead and start getting that in your head. Like, you know, don't overdo it on the coaching calls. And if y'all are just starting, then just start with 1 to 2. Like just start with, even if you do 1 to 2 this month, that's a freaking win. Like you don't have to do a zillion coaching calls, just start. And I promise you, once y'all start doing them, you're going to feel like so much more in tune with what your people need. You're going to feel like you're able to actually help them. Like I'm so serious about that. And you're going to grow more leaders. You know, it's really, really good. I can't stress enough, but yeah. And then, so I have, you know, like all the way I keep up with all my mail outs. This is something I want to show you, Meredith. So I have a monthly party tracker. This is in Chastity's files, and I'm obsessed with this. Okay. So this is literally, and you don't have to do this, but I want y'all to at least look at it. And I have them printed out for the whole rest of the year, but it literally has the month. And then it has my like join combos, hosting combos, so I can check those boxes. As you can see, I'm not doing a good job with that. So tomorrow, that's like first on my list. I need to have more join conversations, at least building relationships, update my dream team list. And then you put your goals of just your goals of your bookings, your goals of recruits, and your goals in sales. And I literally check them off when I reach those like things every month. And in the middle, that's where my recruits are. So I only have 1 new recruit this month. My goal was 3. So Chloe needs to focus on sponsoring conversations tomorrow. So this changes every month. So this is July for me. But Ashley, why this would be great for you and any of y'all is the bottom. These are all your parties. Like you need to keep up with how you got, even if it's like you're sending testers with like a friend or you left them at a dentist office or like whatever, y'all need to keep up with this. So I love this. And everything's on like one sheet and there's a note section. So you can literally see like, you know, you can write down, like I write down possible parties and like possible people that are going to join. Like I love this. This is my favorite. I love everything that can be on one sheet. Like that makes me really happy. So pretty much the main ones I use, you guys, every single month in my business is the party sheet, the coaching calls, and the monthly check and the like monthly task list. Okay. Obviously with mail out, so I don't use Maven. I know a zillion people do. Even both of my SSDs use Maven, but I can't with it. It stresses me out. So I just use a mail out form, and that's what I write down. Anything I send out on, that's how I follow up. That's how I keep up with it. So, you know, that's a whole nother thing. You guys know that. Like if you're sending out stuff to people, you need to know what you sent out. You need to know when you send it out. It can get really expensive. I even write down, like if I mail out something to a team member, to anybody, it gets written down in here because I'm not going to remember anything that I've sent out, and y'all won't either. And then I'm going to show y'all too. Like this is my month at a glance. You can see I write everything down. I don't have a color coordination. Like I don't do any of that. But I just write down how I'm working. I write down when I have coaching calls. Like, it's important, I feel like, for you guys as leaders to see your work. Like, you need to know how you're working. You need to know what you're doing. And it's also a good way, too, like, at the end of every week, you can be like, okay, like, I literally did not close any parties. Or I did, you know, like, or what, or, you know, whatever. I think though that's pretty much all that I have. Do y'all have like any questions about anything or like anything y'all are like struggling in? Feel free. Yeah, girl, unmute yourself. I told you I get really nervous when I talk. I get like red. It's like a whole thing. It's so bad.
Where did you say you found like the party sheet and monthly sheet at? What's
those are
it's in our leaders group, Meredith. It's in
okay.
the file, leaders group. All the forms she talked about are in the leaders group in the files section.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's literally it's a Google Drive. And so if Martha, if you need the drive again, if you can't find that link, I can send that to you and you can repost the entire drive for them. That way they can, if they want to open all kinds of different things and see what's going to work for them, because Chastity has a ton of stuff in there.
Okay.
But
Jason just posted it in the SSD group as well.
and I've
right?
literally told him about these for months. I'm like, Jason, I can't with you. Like I should have just shared it myself. But yeah.
I
So
think
they're
too,
all,
this goes back to if you treat your business like a business, it's going to pay you like a business
yeah.
because you're taking ownership of your business. Like I feel like since I've been doing this, since you shared this with me, I feel like I'm in control of my business now. I've never felt more confident, gooder. That's not a word, I know, but I do. I feel so much more in control of my business, and it's created more self-confidence in me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same way. And I mean, even for me, you guys, like, because I've been doing like my follow-up system good, and because I've been like really on just like, that's why you got to set goals. Like, how many coaching calls do you want to have a week? How many, parties do you want to have a month? Like, those are things we got to be doing, you guys, like every single month. And like, the end of the month is approaching. And so y'all need to be looking at and thinking about as a leader, and this is on my monthly checklist, front loading for August completely. Front loading samples, front loading parties, front loading all of that. Like, as a leader, if we're not keeping up with that, you're going to realize you go into August 1st and it's this big cluster, and then September is going to come and it's going to be an even bigger cluster because y'all haven't started your coaching calls and have no systems in place. It's just, it can like unravel. And if you work smarter, not harder, like Martha said, your business is going to explode. And like, your income, you guys, is not going to come just from you having parties. You've got to have parties, like of any sort. You got to get PRV, but your income is going to come from building first generation directors. Okay. Right. Like that is the bottom line. And so y'all just don't stress yourself about like building directors. Like y'all don't need to stress that, but you need to have in your head, like, how am I building leaders? And then how are you being the best at whatever title you're at right now? How are y'all being the best star consultant for your team? How are you stewarding them? How are you being the best superstar consultant? Like, how are we being the best superstar directors for y'all? Like, you've got to think that way. And if you, like I said in the beginning of this call, if whatever you're doing in your business doesn't bring you joy, stop doing it. Like, if you don't like doing whatever, stop doing it. If you don't like planners, don't use it, but use something to keep up with your business. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is a business. And that's why I love that you said that, Martha, because if you don't treat it like a business, you're not going to get paid like that. But you've got to realize you guys are mentors. Like, y'all are, you're leaders. And so you got to learn how to like be better at that. And that's why with AIM, that's why me and Justin and Kristen have the trainings on that, like of how to find these people and how to stay consistent with it. And how to find new people. When those people don't call me, like, I don't reschedule coaching calls with them. Like, I tell them, like, whenever you're ready and whenever you have it together and you want to send me your form 24 hours to 48 hours before, we can talk. But like, if you don't send it to me, we're not going to do our call. Like, I'm sorry, your computer didn't work, but I sent this a week ago. Like, you've got to create business owners. That's the thing. Like, and that's what coaching forms help do too.
How do you get, like, I think it's been a struggle with a lot of people and myself, really too, is getting them to start those initial coaching calls and keeping up with it.
So it's, for me, y'all, it's really just about, number one, like creating a culture of like, we do coaching calls and they're awesome. So like I said, anytime I get someone that does one with me, period, I shout that out on my pages and I recognize that. And the next thing I do is, when I'm pulling reports, this is why y'all got to pull reports at least the first of the month for the previous month and at the middle of the month. When you pull reports, you're going to find new rock stars and people that feel valued. So like when you find a rock star and you reach out to them and you text them and you start building that relationship, it's value in, value out. When they feel like you value them, they're going to be like, oh, like, yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, I am a rock star. Like, maybe we should talk about the next step. And that's kind of how I lead into it of, well, if you ever want to do a coaching call, I would love to work with you to like show you what I'm doing, but that's where you guys have to lead from the front and really get your stuff together so you can teach them some content and some things that are going to work. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of leaders are like, oh, I can't teach them because I don't feel like I'm like worthy or whatever. Well, then figure out, like, work your business and start doing things that are going to be productive and replicatable and that are going to build your business. And then you'll have stuff to teach them. but we all can be coaches. You know what I mean? And that's a part of this business. And Scentsy doesn't teach it enough. Like, we are freaking coaches and we are mentors. And these are things that we do. So yeah, I would just say, like, y'all just need to build. She's so cute.
Yeah.
I'm about to have a girl and I'm so not ready. But y'all just need to really focus on building intentional relationships with potential rock stars from the beginning, getting their phone number, like, just instilling belief in them. That's all it takes. Like, y'all know so many of these women have nobody to tell them they're awesome. They have nobody telling them they're doing a good job. Like, when I was a nurse, like, I never got recognition for anything. And so recognition and value is one of the biggest things that you've got to start with your new consultants early. Like, that's why I say with onboarding, like, right when they join, that's honestly, to me, when it starts. That way, when you plug in their ear, like, okay, dude, well, you certified, like, lead is the next step, like, lead's the next step. If you want to talk about it, let's do a call. You don't even have to call it a coaching call. You just have to say, okay, I'm going to send you a little form to fill out. Just submit it. It'll take like 5 minutes. And literally in that form, you can figure out more about their life and, like, get them on the phone.
Okay. Do you have on your YouTube, is there about the onboarding you've been talking about? Do you have a YouTube?
No, I need to do a video on that. That's on my list.
Okay.
When I do it, I'll let you know. Because it's something I've really, obviously, this is like newer for me. And it was honestly kind of embarrassing, y'all. I'm not going to lie, because,
I'm there. I've signed up 14 people since April 1st, and not one of them is certified. So
this is an issue. That's what I'm saying. So I identified that like 3 months ago, and I was like, this is a serious, legit problem. So yeah, I will definitely, like, pour my brain into a video, and when I do, I'll let you know. So you can just do this for sure with, like, everything. But pretty much, all the things I told you guys tonight is kind of what I'm doing. And you want to create a culture that they don't want to leave.
Right.
You want to think that too. Like, you want to create a place, no matter if they're going to stay certified or they're going to take it next level, that, like, they literally don't want to leave. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
And you're going to have people that want to leave, and that's fine. You'll find new people. That's why it's important for y'all to always be recruiting. I love the girl at the bottom who's doing samples. Yes, girl. Get it. Get it. That's what it takes, you guys. And it's going to take, I'm telling y'all, like, it's really, how bad do y'all want it?
Yeah.
How bad do you want it? Like, don't say you don't have time to do this or that when you know you can wake up 45 minutes early. You may not want to, but you can get a lot done if you wake up 45 minutes earlier than you normally do, and get your cup of coffee and, like, start writing down what you need to do, and, like, get your, like, I have all my mailers already ready to go from Freebie Fridays, labeled and all. I'm just waiting on my scent circles. Like, that's because I, like, sat down and, like, really prioritize every morning, like, what I need to do. And the sooner y'all, like, start that, and it's all about, like, a hustle and a grind. And I know some people don't like the word hustle, but that is what it takes. You're not going to get Superstar Director because you did 2 parties a month and recruited 2 people a month. It's not going to happen that way.
If it's important to you, you will make it a priority.
Yeah, and it's so worth it, you guys. Like, I mean, I am 28 years old and I'm retired. Like, I never went to school to do this. I went to school to be a nurse. I had no, like, training on how to do these things. I just figured it out. And now I have figured out things that are replicatable. So the things that I've told y'all tonight, they freaking work. Like, they work. Coaching calls work. Like, and like I said, make them your own. Like, but they work, like, getting systems in place for how you work every day, it works, and it doesn't take a lot of time. But it does take, like, intentional time. That's probably the biggest thing. It's not just about a checklist, too, because I'm a checklist person. So I used to be like, okay, let me do my checklist and I'm good. No. You got to be, like, intentional about, like, what you're doing. You know what I mean? You got to be intentional about your recruiting conversations. You got to be intentional about, when you close those parties before you do, about really talking to them about the earn a kit. Like, with every person, even if you're tired, even if you're like, oh, I don't know if they would be good. Who cares? That's not your job. Is to decide who's going to be good at Scentsy. Unless, like, sometimes you really know. You're like, they're not even good with money, like, whatever. But your job is to share the opportunity, number one, with as many people as you can. That's number one. And then number two is to literally just have replicatable stuff that you can teach your teams. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be able to teach your team stuff that they can teach their teams. And you want to start that now. Like, don't wait until you're like me. We grew, just to give you an idea, since I've started these systems, we grew from 2,000 to 4,000 people in 3 months. The systems work. It worked. Right. It's not like, oh, well, we'll see what happens. No, because then when you're coaching people, you're not coaching about stupid stuff. You're coaching them on things. Bye, Haley. Thanks for being on, girl. Hey, and if you have any questions, if any of y'all do, just message me on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, and obviously, Martha, if you have anything else, let me know. I'll definitely do a video on onboarding, and I'll put it on my channel. Okay. That way, too, it's like, well, and another thing I have on my channel I didn't really tell y'all about, and this is something I recommend y'all starting sooner than later. I have on my YouTube channel, and it's for my team specifically, but it's 12 tip videos. And like I said, don't get overwhelmed and feel like you got to do this now, but I wish I did it sooner. And they're 12 different short video clips on things they need to focus on in their first 12 days. And they're like, it's just like the first one's a welcome video. You know, the second one talks about shooting star and getting certified. The third one talks about like branding, I think. They're like all these different things. But if y'all don't have those videos, feel free with your new consultants to share mine with them until you make your own. But that's helped me so much. Like, because even when you train somebody one time, that's like so much stuff. So I even have on there like how to open and close your first party. Yeah, I know Scentsy does one, but they don't talk about what you need to get with free and half off stuff for your business. They don't talk about adding clear bags. They don't talk about like, they don't talk about the stuff that we know how to do. So, right. So that's another reason why I created those videos. And I did it last month. Like, it's never too late to start. But like, you need to look at what other people are doing. Like, look at what Chastity Robinson's doing, who hit SSD in a matter of 3 months after doing systems, right? Like, follow Katie Lassiter. She's another one of my Superstar directors. Look at what she's doing. Look at our channels. Like, when we upload stuff, share that stuff on your team pages. Like, work smarter, not harder, and really figure out, like, what's going to work for you, I guess, is the biggest thing I want y'all to know, and go for it. Like, just go for it. Don't be afraid. Like, if you know things are going to make you nervous, that means you probably need to do it. I don't like doing these kinds of calls. They make me very nervous. But I do them because, number one, I know what it's going to do for y'all, and really because I really care about Martha. But I know that it's going to grow y'all. And if I don't tell people these things, y'all are going to just get burnout. You're going to get annoyed. You're going to deal with women, and you're not going to know how to handle them. And you're going to be so overwhelmed because you have no systems in place that eventually you're just going to crash and burn. And that's not what we want. No. We want y'all to live your best life. So
I've been telling them to look at like all this as a buffet. Look at this as a buffet, and you can choose what works for you.
Yep. But the biggest thing,
do something.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is you need to have a system for your leaders. You need to have a system for your recruiting, and you need to have a system for your PRV. Those three things, like that's it. You need to have a way that you're really, my husband calls it like the 3-legged stool or whatever, but all three of those legs need to be operating. Like, you can't just say, okay, well, I'm going to do recruiting and I'm going to do, PRV, but I'm not going to lead. You're going to struggle. You can recruit your little butt off, but if you're not training them right, if you're not leading them right, and if you're not, you know what I mean? Like, really learning how to be confident in yourself and use these tools that y'all are learning to coach them, they're going to fall off. You're not going to.
You're hurting yourself because you can't sell enough Scentsy to what you could make off of your team.
Y'all, I wish that I could show y'all my paycheck. It's a joke how much I make off my PRV now. It really is. And
your team?
Yes. Your income is from your first, second, and third gen directors, and then your front line, your certified lead stars and superstars. So I mean that. I mean, I'll just share my paycheck. I don't even care. So like last month I made like $800 from my PRV. And I made like $19,000 from my directors. And then I made like, I think 2,000 from my like team, my certifieds to superstars. So I want y'all to understand the investment in feeding into your team. That's where your life will change.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your life is going to change. And it's like so worth it. Like I can't stress it enough. And just go in with the mentality that like Orville and Heidi are, to give more than you take. Know that you're going to give to some of these people and they're not going to give back to you. That's why you've got to take care of your business first. That's why I'm saying first of every month, take care of your business. You know, don't open up coaching calls. Don't be doing coaching calls at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. No, like have your times. And if they're like, oh, why to get off work at 5? Well, can we do your lunch break? Like that's literally me. I'm like, well, let's do your lunch break. How bad do you want it? Let's talk on your lunch break. And they do it every time because they know that's Chloe's schedule though. And if they want it, they can either call me on the way to work or they can call me on their lunch break. I'm not going to do a call. The only kind of calls I do are exceptions like this, high leadership calls at night. Other than that, my nights are for my freaking family. Like that's it. And I don't want to create the culture that I'm always doing coaching calls at night and stuff like that. And you don't either. So.
Right. Anyone else have any questions or anything?
Hold on, I do.
Hey, girl.
How do you recruit people? Like what works for you?
I am literally just always, I guess it's a mindset. So one video that I watched 4 years ago from Katie Farner, it changed my life. It's called The Lifestyle of Recruiting. And normally I don't love her teaching style, and I can say that because we're really close. But I love that video on the lifestyle of recruiting because it really taught me how to make it a lifestyle. And she breaks it down into acronyms. So I literally do like every one of those things every day. I mean, like I said, when I have someone, like social media is obviously big for me. I'm a millennial. But, you know, when I'm following up with customers, if I see how obsessed they are with the product, they go on my dream team list. Like, you know, every basket party host, in your case, well, depending, Meredith, because you do online parties. So to flip it, they could earn their kit, but they wouldn't get the PRV. But I'm sure you could figure out a way to make that like happen if you're sharing it more right from the beginning. You know what I mean? On, hey, if you go ahead and actually join, you know, you can, or we can close this party out when you reach 200. And we can open up your own online party. Like, it's just, I'm always honestly just thinking about who needs Scentsy and how it could help them and how it could like bless them. So through social media, my customer follow-ups, I'm always thinking, and that's where my dream team comes into play. I'm like, who could rock out Scentsy? And when I feel like it's time for me to leap and just share the opportunity, I share it and I have join packets like ready to go. Like I have join info always ready to go in my office. I have like stickers that say like join the team for real, like funny stuff. Like I'm always marketing like the opportunity. I'm always marketing like my brands. Like I'm always like my thank you cards that I put in every order have, you know, have you ever thought about joining this life-changing business? Want to travel the world for free? Need some extra income for your money? Let's chat. Don't let your dreams just be dreams. And I got these super cheap on Vistaprint, y'all. And it has pictures of me with my team doing stuff, but y'all could do like pictures with your family or whatever. This goes in every order, like stapled onto the front of the bag with a sample. So it's just honestly like every avenue that I have to share it, I share it because people see it, you know?
Okay.
I mean, honestly, with your online parties, you could really share on social media like crazy. You can even make like games where it's like, you know, all around like the opportunity and like if they ask you a question about your business, they get a drawing. Like, you know, you could do all kinds of crazy stuff with online parties, like to share the opportunity. That's kind of what I would do if I was doing like a lot of online, you know, marketing. But it's all about relationships. That's it, you guys. It's very simple. Like you're just building relationships with people and you're always sharing the opportunity with them. And if they say no, who freaking cares? But I'm going to ask them because if I don't ask them, somebody else is. And that's going to make me real mad. And that's kind of how I think about it. Like if not you, then who? Right. So we got to ask.
And you said her name's Katie what?
Farner. Farner. And she's a really great like teacher. Like she teaches really well. So you may like her YouTube channel as well. But it's called The Lifestyle. If you type in Katie Farner Lifestyle, it comes right up. It's like bomb. It is such a good training on learning like what recruiting really means. And she always earns annual mentor. She's a really good like recruiter too. She's not just like doing a video to do it. It's like what she actually does.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, girl.
Anyone else have any questions?
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Chloe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was amazing, like incredible. Thank you so much.
We just got to live our best lives, you guys, and, you know, ignore the haters or the people that say, you know, that you can't do it. Because if I listen to those people, I mean, my husband too, by the way, he owns like 3 businesses now. He quit his job. He's living his best life. Like, it's hard, but I'm saying he's finally doing what he wants to do. And I'll never forget, you guys, with my son, when I was pregnant with him, I was a nurse. I don't even remember being pregnant. I don't remember the first 2 years of his life. I remember like crying because I'd walk in the door after work on the phone, coaching somebody and working with people. And I was just so tired. And I thought to myself, you know, it's really hard right now. This sucks right now. But I remember thinking in a couple years, it's going to be worth it. And now I'm pregnant with my second. And like, I don't have to worry about going back to work. Like, I don't have to worry about not putting my kid to bed. I don't have to worry about not taking him to swim lessons. I get to do whatever in the hell I want. And it's awesome, you know? And so you just have to think about that too. Like, it's not just about monthly goals. It's about what are your big dreams? Like, what do you dream for your family? And like, what do you want for your life? And that's what's going to get you out of bed and going every day. Not a goal of having 8 parties a month. It's not gonna do it for you. So y'all really have to dream and think like, if I could have anything in the world, right? Like, what would it be? Like, if I could get my husband out of his job, or if I could, you know, if I could like live on the farm or whatever it is you guys want, like you have to write those dreams down and put them in front of you. Like, have a dream board, for goodness sake. Have it on your phone. You know, that way when you're working those late nights, like y'all are doing training calls like this at 9:30 at night on a freaking Tuesday, that feels like a Thursday, because you're so tired, it's going to push you through to be like, I got this. You know, that's probably the biggest thing that's pushed me, because, you know, I will never go back. I will never go back to the way that my life used to be. There's no way.
It's these little things that keeping track of everything in our binder, these little things that we consistently do, it's going to lead to those big things. It's going to lead to the big paycheck.
Yeah. And with y'all too, like, cause y'all are in Martha's downline. Like, one thing I do, and this is the last thing I'll say, but you know, I'm always following up with my like top of the crop leaders. Like, you know, you guys are probably part of Martha's like top of the crop. So when she's doing coaching calls with y'all need to be honest with her and tell her what you don't like. Tell her what's not working for you. Brainstorm with her on a way that your business is going to work best. Like, for real, that's something I'm really, really on top of with my people like you guys that are growing. You're going to go through a bunch of like evolving until you figure it out. And that's how it should be. You're not going to have it all figured out in a month, but you need to start somewhere. So start small. If over the next month it needs to be just coaching and team stuff, do that. You know what I mean? And then you pick up something else like the next month and do that. And you and Martha, or whoever your upline is, y'all coach with or whatever, which right now it sounds like it's Martha. But you know, when you're talking to her, you're like, and be honest. We don't want to hear like, oh, well, I'm doing this, but whatever. No, if you don't like it, we're going to throw that form away and we're going to figure something else out, you know? Because if you're just doing things that aren't going to work for you, you're not going to enjoy it. And you need to like enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. All right.
All right. Thank you so much, Chloe.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Your face isn't that red either, so you're good.
It's so bad. It's like my baby is like so mad. She's like kicking me because I've been so nervous. So I'm all like tense, and she's like, I do it anyways. And that's why y'all have to think you got to do it anyways. For real. Start now. So you're not like me and you're not doing it 4 years later. Because then this whole half of the year for me was very difficult because I really had to buckle down and I was pregnant. So it was not ideal. But y'all got this. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.